Okay, let's look at solving a percent problem. So let A represent a partial amount of B, the whole amount or base. Then the following equation can be used to solve a percent problem. So we do the partial amount over the whole amount equals the decimal value, which is converted to a percent. Okay. So if we're looking at this example 6, it says solve each problem. A mixture of gasoline and oil contains 20 ounces, of which 1 ounce is oil. What percent of the mixture is oil? Let's see. So we have a mixture of gasoline and oil contains 20 ounces, of which 1 ounce is oil. Okay. So then the mixture will be the total. We want to know what percent of the mixture is oil. Let me see. Now I'm tempted. Let me try something real quick. It says what percent. So I know sometimes we can say like X percent of. So we say times the mixture. So the mixture is 20 ounces. So I'll put the 20. So it says what percent of the mixture is the oil is 1 ounce. Okay. So this is just one way to kind of approach a mixture problem. I literally took that last statement and just wrote it down from literal English to a mathematical equation. So it said what percent. Let's do our arrow. I like the arrow that we had before. Okay, so it says what percent of the mixture is oil. So I said what percent. So I just did X percent of the mixture. It says a mixture of gasoline is 20 ounces. So it says the mixture is 20. And then is here. The oil is at 1 ounce is oil. So what percent of the mixture is oil? Okay. So then if we were to go forward, so then now when we say X percent, so when we say X percent, that percent symbol you can usually do as 1 over 100. Okay. So the percent we can usually do is going to be X times 1 over 100 times 20 equals 1. So now if we want to solve for X, you could, since it's multiplication, you could say 20 over 100 reduces down to 1 over 5. So then we have X times 1 over 5 equals 1. So then when we divide by 1 over 5, so divide by 1 over 5, divide by 1 over 5, these cancel. 1 divided by 1 over 5, it flips, and that actually gives us 5%. So what percent? 5%. So that already gives us the result in the percent form. Now let's try to apply the formula that we had from before. The partial amount over the whole amount equals the decimal value. So the partial amount was 1 and the whole amount was 20. Okay, so then 1 divided by 20 is 0.5 as a decimal, and then to convert to a percent, we would say times 100%. And that would indeed give us this result. That'll give us 5%. So two different ways of working the same question. All right, so example 7 says to refer to figure 3, how much was spent on pet supplies slash medicine? It says round the answer to the nearest tenth of a billion. So let's look at this. In 2011, Americans spent about $51 billion on their pets. Use the graph in figure 3 to determine how much of this amount was spent on vet care. So instead of answering that question, it says how much was spent on pet supplies slash medicine. So we're really just reading this chart. So again, it says how much was spent on pet supplies, and then round your answer to the nearest tenth of a billion. So let's look at this. how much was spent on pet supplies. So we're looking at this chart. Okay, now we have a pie chart. It's just basically a circle, and then everything should add up to 100%, and each part tells you what percent was spent. Let's see. It says spending on kitty and rover, grooming, boarding, vet care. So these are the different costs that they spent on their animal. Okay, it says how much was spent on pet supplies and medicine. Pet supplies and medicine. So we have pet supplies and medicine here, and it says 21%. So then it says 21% of the total cost was spent on pet supplies and medicine. So now if we go back, it says we've spent a total of 51 billion. So it seems like it's straightforward. So then if we spend a total of 51 billion, and then of that amount, 23.1%, so we say, since it's of, we would say 23.1% was spent on pet supplies and medicine. So then now if we're going to do this multiplication, if that's a percent, we need to change that to a decimal. Now if that was 1%, we move to the left to right. So to go from, again, you can kind of do where the percent symbol means, so you can say that this symbol means 1 over 100. Okay. So now if you do this, so if this symbol means 1 over 100, then to put it in the correct form, we'll have 51 times, we'll still have 23.1, and then times 1 over 100. So if you do this, if you divide it by 100 and move the decimal to the left twice, I'm going to allow this to be in the calculator, So let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to do that in the calculator. So let's try this. Let's see if we get the 11.8 billion. So then we have 51 times 23.1 times, I'm going to do 1 divided by 100. Should get 11.8, approximately 11.8. This is correct. So we'll stop there. Okay, so that actually concludes today's lecture. That concludes today's lecture. So yeah, just all you're really responsible for right now is just continue to be on the lookout for the online, and you'll start receiving emails from me once everything is operational. I would have gotten done over the weekend, but again, I just got locked out of my account, so there was nothing I can do. But otherwise, just stay on the lookout. Again, everything that you see in this video, you will receive a copy of it, or you'll be able to gain a copy of it. You will be able to receive a copy of the syllabus and that last page and everything. I will try to get a copy of that last page of the syllabus to the instructor. If you get a copy from him, you can fill that out and just turn it in and make sure I get a copy of it. Your filled out portion, and that'll serve as your quiz 1. Otherwise, now if you're feeling like you're getting too behind and you're not getting enough practice, you can work problems out of the book. So far we've gone through sections 1.1 and 1.2. So then you can go ahead and do 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 out of the book. And again, you'll get your online access very soon. Otherwise, have a good afternoon and see you Wednesday.